Hi everyone, welcome to our second session of Make Data Fun Again. I'm Dania Paris, your host for today. So our title for today's session is The Future of BI, Augmented Analytics at Your Fingertips. And for today, our speaker will be Dr. Simon Lau. So this session will be an hour and a half long, so sit back and relax while we make data fun again for you. Throughout the session, do ensure to open the starting file, which we will be referring to throughout the session. You may also find the starting file in the link listed in the description box and the chat box below. Just for a disclaimer, this session you will be required to have Excel 365 and Power BI. If you don't have these softwares, you can actually find it in our description box below to download for this session. So no worries, you can just tune into the session as well if you don't have your laptop with you to download these softwares. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to put it in the chat box. We will answer your questions at the end of the event in our Q&A session. So without further ado, let's invite Dr. Simon on the stage. Hi, Dr. Simon.
Hello and a very good morning to everyone. First of all, thank you for your participation for this workshop, The Future of Power BI, Business Analytics, Augmented Analytics at Your Fingertips. The title for today, we are going to cover how we are going to leverage on AI features in software such as Excel and Power BI to assist you to perform analytics even with very minimal experience and skill. Throughout the workshop, we'll dive into various features which will help you to perform analytics and produce report and visualization, even you are a beginner. So whether you are a marketer, business executive, manager, or just someone who is curious about the world of data, I invite you to join us on this journey. I assume everyone today already read the prerequisite for our workshop today. If you haven't read it, I will guide you through later, no worry. And if you have any question, please feel free to write it in the chat box and we'll try to address as many questions as I can. Are you ready to get started? Yes, right? Okay, let's start. Okay, so for the next about 1 hour, I'm going to first of all give you an overview of what augmented analytics is. It's a technical term. It looks like a technical jargon, but it is actually something quite useful and very simple. And then I'll tell you why these augmented analytics tools are very important to you today to to add value to your business. And then we are going to explore how augmented analytics are already embedded in some of the familiar tools you are using. For example, Microsoft Excel and Power BI. So they are already embedded in those tools. Then finally, before we end, I'm going to tell you, right, with these tools, what is the significance of many of us to be reasoned as citizen data scientists. And before we end, hopefully we have some time for us to address some of the questions. I would like to beg for your full attention, right, for the next 1 hour. And then some of you who are on PC, if you have your laptop PC in front of you, you may want to go through it, go through some of the hands-on together with me. As much as possible, if you cannot follow along, please let us know. And then I'll try to stop and pause here and there to help you, to wait for you so that you can follow through some of the simple practical. And feel free to ask in the chat box if you face any question. So what is augmented analytics? I think data analytics is a very common term already. Most of us have heard about it. But what is augmented analytics? Defined by Gartner, augmented analytics is actually the use of enabling technologies. So I highlight some of the keywords. Use of enabling technologies such as machine learning and AI. Right? AI is a jargon that we hear over and over again. And now AI can be applied to assist. Right? Assist is the keyword. Assist us, every one of us, with some of the difficult or many hassle tasks that we do as a data scientist. For example, data preparation, insight generation, insight explanation, and so on and so forth. So it is a tool that enable and also augment how people explore and analyze data. And on those tools, for example, the BI platform that we're going to use, for example, Excel and also Power BI. And then by Microsoft itself, augmented analytics gives business user right? It doesn't say it gives data scientists, but it actually gives business users intuitive, intelligent tools. Again, it's tools for data preparation, analysis and visualization, and helping companies to make more. The keyword is more data-driven decision faster, right? Not only more, but faster. So what are they? Right? To me, I'll summarize it as class of analytics tool or technology powered by AI and ML, AI and machine learning that expands, right? Expands the ability of a human to interact with data at the contextual level, right? So what is contextual level? Later in the some walkthrough, hands-on, you understand what is that context that the AI can understand. And then augmented analytics consists of tools and software that bring analytical capabilities, whether it can be recommendation, insight, or any guidance on the query to more people. It means that it actually liberalize the ability to analyze data to more people so that more people can leverage on these tools to make informed decision making based on data. So from traditional analytics that we have come across, we know most of these data analytics tasks are performed by specialists, by experts, right? A lot of the dirty data cleaning jobs are done by human. So a lot of manual work has to be done in data pre-processing and cleansing. And then in the data analysis part, only skilled experts, those who are trained, right, through formal training and education, can actually build models in order for them to perform analysis. And on the data discovery side, you need to purchase, you need to have a lot of proprietary tools for you to plot beautiful charts, advanced dashboard for you to do analysis. But in this augmented analytics paradigm, right, things are done differently. First of all, data pre-processing side, not to mention none of the manual tasks has to be done, but it is now help or assisted by AI, by software tools to help you to auto detect problems in your schema, and then auto formulation of data schema, and then auto structure of the data format that you have, raw data that you have. And then on the analytics sides, the models can be auto-generated by software, right? Don't be surprised, right? Quite advanced model, data model can be built automatically without human intervention and understood by AI without human trying to understand the schema, the relationship between fields in your tables, for example. And then last but not the least, on visualization side, it is visualization on the fly. On the fly meaning as you go, as you try to analyze and assisted by the AI, can actually helps you to plot the chart one by one, right? Of course, right? In order to come up with a advanced dashboard, you still need quite a lot of effort, right, and skill in order to plot that kind of dashboard, right, using proprietary tool. But here, what we are talking about is trying to make informed decision for more people who are not skilled. So you can actually perform it in front of your desktop, right at your software tool that available to you, for example, Excel, without you have to go through the process of building a dashboard before you can analyze things, right? So what are the business value? First of all, as I mentioned earlier, you can actually put analytics skill and ability to do analytics in most people. Mm, Analytics is no more a proprietary task to jobs of data scientists alone. I wouldn't say there's no value to that, but data scientists will be the person who oversee everything. But most company, right, you wouldn't be able to have everyone or have many data scientists, right, at different business function. So in this case, where tools like augmented analytics tool can be available to almost everyone, right from CEO, CTO, CFO to the people who are maybe manning the front desk of your company. So everyone in different business function will be able to leverage on these tools to actually perform analytics on their own, right? So it democratize PI to everyone, right? And also these people, business user who are not data expert per se, but they can actually support the job of data scientists and IT specialists, right? So, but one question we may ask is, they are not trained. So how are they going to perform the task well? And how do you know the analysis and the report they produce is actually correct and accurate? So with tools, right, tools actually helps you to take away a lot of the subjectivity and bias, right, by individual user, individual people who actually perform the analysis. So because tools are basically doing their job and perform the auto generation of the model purely based on your data. As long as the data is accurate, then the tool, the model built by the tool is going to be uh, accurate at scale, meaning it can be a certain level of accuracy can be achieved, right, in a large scale by most people, even though the people who use the tool to perform the analytics doesn't have as much skill and knowledge as data scientists. So what this talk is and is not about, it's not going to be another chat GPT. I know whenever we talk about AI, a lot of people will think about chat GPT again. But even though I'm not going to mention about chat GPT in this presentation, but this AI feature built into Excel and Power BI has the ability of chat GPT like conversation, right, between a human and also a robot, a software robot and AI. So later, we are going to use natural language, right? Of course, there are limitations, still limitation, because we know that this conversational AI is still work in progress. But there are some very quite surprising, right? If good outcome that we can produce actually already from this current available AI feature. So let's try it. So before we start, okay, so the second tool here we don't need because it is no more map for free. So I'm going to omit that from the presentation later, right? So we are going to focus more today on the first tool available in Excel, right? I would say that this new feature for augmented analytics in Excel is only available currently under Excel 365 subscription, right? A newer version of Excel, right? So the prerequisite is you have to have that, right? Whether your company or you individual license should have subscribed to Excel 365 or Office 365. And then we also are going to use Power BI Desktop, which is available for free. The link is given in the chat box already, so you can download it, right? While we haven't started, you can take some time. If you haven't downloaded, haven't installed yet, you can install Power BI Desktop. You don't need to install the rest other software, right? Excel only, you have Excel 365 and you have Power BI Desktop, then we are good to go. First of all, we are going to explore a tool called Analyze Data with Excel. So if you look into the Google Drive, the file that we have shared with you earlier, right? The startup file, there are two files. So one of the file Excel. So we're going to start with the Excel file. So you can download this data set sales and marketing sample file, right? The starter file, which is on my desktop now, right? So you can see it, right? So this data data set has six tables, right? Six tables. If you explore, let us just explore it first, right? So six tables, only three tables are actually transactional data, meaning the so-called data that contain transactional value that is worthwhile for us to analyze. That includes sentiment, product, and also manufacturer, right? The rest of sales fact. The rest of it are actually dimension table, dimension table. So the fact table, factual transaction is in product, sentiment, and also sales fact, right? The rest of the table actually are just the dimension table that describes certain value that we have. So if you explore, right, product table looks like this, right, with a few fields, and then the transactional value of manufacturer, category, segment, product, right? If you open up, right, raw data, sentiment, sentiment score, right, for certain product, for certain manufacturer, and then sales fact. This three table is the one that we are going to try to explore using analyze data feature. And then the rest of it are just some dimension table. Doesn't matter, you can ignore them, right? So at the start, as a start, okay, are you ready? Let us open this Excel, right? If you are on Office Excel 365, you should be able to see on the Home tab, right? Go to Home tab, and then go explore the ribbon, right? Somewhere to the right of your ribbon, right? Your menu ribbon, analyze data. right? Let me magnify my screen, right? This one, analyze data, right? So some of you may not realize if you are on 365, there's such a function there, a feature there, right? So if you are not on Office 365, chances are you may not see this, right, on your home tab. So you can click on it, right? So you see a pen, right? They will auto select your data set, right? But before that, just to make the analysis even easier or better, let us make all these table to be not raw field, not just a range of values, but let us make it a Excel table. Right? So let's go to product table, product tab, product worksheet, product. You click anywhere, any cell in the range, right? It's a range currently, right? It's not a name entity, but it's just every cell is within a range. So let's make it a Excel table, right? Insert table, just make an Excel table. Click anywhere, you just click and insert table. You auto select the range with values, right? So if you have a first row of our table is actually the header, right? So we just click my table has headers, right? So you auto select, no worry about the range, it will auto select for you. Okay, right? So you see that you actually be converted into a name entity, right? Which is a table, right? So we can refer to the individual cell, individual column, individual row with name later, right? So this is actually a Excel table now. Before that was a range, right? So the name of the table, let us leave it as table 1. What doesn't matter, right? So if you go to the table design, you click on the table and then you go to table design on top, you click on the tab and then you can see table name on the left here, table name. Every column now has a name, right? For example, this is a product column. So if you select, you can actually filter the column value, column by value, right? So you can sort, you can also filter. So it become a name column with a name, right? The header become the name of the column, right? And this table has a name. Okay, let's do the same for sentiment as well, right? Sentiment. I guess you know how to do already, right? So just click anywhere inside the range, right? This is not yet a table. Click anywhere in the table, a cell, and then insert table. So again, my table has header. So the first row is a header. Okay. It become a table, Excel table. And then sales fact, right? We have 3 fact table. This 3 fact table, let's click on it and insert table. Again, do the same thing. Okay. Very fast. Right? This table, I need to bring your attention to this. Right? Later, you'll see something about this table. This table has a lot of data. Actually, this file is quite large, right? Because of this table. Sales fact. Sales fact has over 1 million records. If you scroll down, right? Ultimately, you will reach the end of it. 1 point something million. 1 million and 48,576 record, right? That's the limit of Excel actually, for you to hold, right? A full worksheet of 1 million plus data, right? So this is the limit of Excel, this table, sales fact. So I'll talk about that later. We need additional tool to analyze this kind of data when you have millions of data point, more than 1 million plus, right? For Excel, Excel is not meant for that purpose. But for today, most of our work will be done based on a smaller subset than 1 million, right? So let's switch to the product table, right? Let me close the analyze panel again, right? So I repeat again, go to home tab, go to home tab. Somewhere to the right, if you are on Office 365, Office 365, right? Excel 365, analyze data. Somewhere on the right, click on it, right? In split of a second, right? The tool has already built the model, right? Okay, assuming this data is already clean. So let me tell you, this data is almost 99% clean, right? Assuming you have done the job of data cleaning and so on and so forth, fill in the empty value and so on. This table is ready to go. But to build the model, right, in real case, to understand the data relationship and so on, data type and so on, Excel has actually performed the task within split of a second, right? So you can see on the right side of the Excel here, the panel, you can drag to make it larger, right? So there are some tentative uh, insight that has been produced for you within a few seconds, right? Discover the insight. You can scroll down, right? Some charts are already plotted, right, for this table, right? Based on what the AI, this is AI involved. AI tried to understand the relationship between data. The data has numerical data, for example, product ID. The data has actually uh, categorical values, right? Has yes and no, and so on and so forth. It tries to make sense out of it, try to do the count and so on and so forth, right? And come out with some insight that for a layman can understand actually. You can read it. For example, count of events as there. Let's say we this is a field that try to tell which record is actually the product, which product, this is a product table of this company called Van Astel. All right, this is not so significant for us for now, right? We are just trying to explore this sample data. So you can actually count the number of no and yes in this field. Yes and no, right? Based on another dimension, for example, the category, segment, right? Segment. The columns are actually segment, productivity, convenience, extreme. This is the segment of product, right? That this yes and no belongs to, this record belongs to. Okay, you can explore further. We can explore. These are suggested chart that are already auto generated, and not only generated but actually tells you the hint of what is the insight about. It's insight. For example, it tells you manufacturer by the field is Van Astel and is complete, right? Two conditions fulfilled together, right? Then the manufacturer, how many of the values there are yes and no. Okay, so some of these field, right, like is Van Astel is complete height. Let's say it's not important to us. Let's say it's not what we look for. We just want to analyze, right, manufacturer, category, segment, product, and then we don't want to know about this field. Let's say, right, this is of no significance to us. We can actually filter. We can choose to actually filter, put a filter. You can go to the right side, right? So discover inside there's a setting, right? You can click on the setting icon, the tool icon, right? So you can subset, you can include and exclude certain field that you don't want. Let's say for this analysis to be meaningful to us, because we didn't have the time to study the data dictionary and understand what this means and so on and so forth, right? Let us just exclude them. Manufacturer ID actually tied to the manufacturer, so it doesn't matter, you include or exclude. Okay, so just exclude it, is complete. Okay, this few fields we can exclude. Product, right? Product ID is actually ID to this product. Since we have the product, right, we just exclude. We can exclude these few fields from the analysis by the AI. We tell the AI that we don't want to know this, right? Let it just analyze this for, right? So let us just save, update, update. So you analyze again, right? You see that now the analysis is different already, right? So it doesn't include the is Bansdale, is complete height and so on. It's okay, right? So what we want to know now, count of manufacturer and segment, right? So this is just a row count, right? How many certain manufacturer and certain segment of product, what the quantity of products fall under that category and so on and so forth, right? Urban account for the majority. This is an insight, right? We have a category column. If you check here, category, right? If you want to know how many types of category, you can click on this arrow. That's why we make it a Excel table, because Excel table understand the structure, the organization of this data schema. So you can actually check the value, right? So the values actually there are 4 category: mixed, rural, urban, youth, right? This is a product that have this category: mixed, category, rural, urban, youth, right? So if you want to just subset the table, you can subset by certain category. Okay, let's say now we want to understand the distribution of number of product that we sell, right? Based on this category, right? We include all of them, right? So this pie chart alone has already told you the majority, this category, right? Under this category, urban, right, is the most count, has the most count, right, in terms of category. So meaning you are selling a product under urban category the most, right? So if this chart is useful to you, right, you don't have to even go and sum and so on. You sum out how many count of urban, how many of mix, how many of rural, and so on and so forth, right? You already know now the majority is actually urban. If this is something useful to you, right, you can choose to tell the AI, you feedback. So this is a two-way kinds of relation between human and AI. Augmented analytics. AI augment you, you augment an AI also. Tell them whether this is right or wrong, good analytics, good result or not. Right? Tell it so that you also train the AI to be more intelligent for future. Right? So is this helpful? Okay, if this is helpful, sorry, if this help, why is it so? All right, you should actually like this is like a like or dislike, right? Basically, you can, if I think I need to minimize it. Let me make it smaller, huh? Sometimes you click on it because my screen. Okay. Okay, never mind. You can feedback to it, huh? So another way of doing is you can also decide, whether this chart is useful to you or not. If it is useful, you can include into your report, right there. So for example, this chart you want to use, you know it is a chart that you want to present in your report and it answer your question, right? You want to know the majority, the distribution of your category of your product. So you include this chart, right? You actually open up an additional worksheet and there is a pivot table, right? Auto-generated pivot table. If you understand pivot table, this one you need to go through another training in Excel. Most of us understand. Pivot table is a summary table of your raw data, right? Just now was the product table, right? So it produced a pivot table for you and a corresponding pivot chart, right? Okay, with the title, not just a raw, whatever title, meaningless title, but a insightful title, right? Of course, you want to add in additional labeling like legend and so on, is up to you. The formatting side, you can do yourself, right? You can format, you can add data label and so on and so forth, right? So we'll leave it to you. So once you have this, right, preliminary chart done for you, you can do the labeling, put in the title, check in the title, add in the legend, and so on and so forth, right? So let's go back to the analyze, the data, analyze data just now. Right, let's say this is one of the chart that you want. So you can keep it in another worksheet. And then later you can copy this part, the chart, into your dashboard, for example, for your report. Okay, let's go back here. Right, we want to know more, right? So this chart again tells you, right, the majority, right, the count of the manufacturer. Just now was the category in pie chart. You want to know the 100% in percentage, but in quantity, number of products sold, Kuibas, right, is the manufacturer. So here there are many manufacturer actually, right? Many, Abbas, AliQ, and so on and so forth. Right? It takes time for you to do manual count, right? Or some of us may need to write a Python code and so on to count, right? But here, automatically it actually count for you and it plot the chart even for you. So the insight is Kuibas is the manufacturer that appears most often. So you can insert, if you want this chart, you can insert into another worksheet and keep it there, right? Later you can use this for your report. The pivot table is done also for you, right? So let's go back to the table again, right? This table. Sorry, let me analyze again. Okay, so now let's say none of this chart actually is useful to you, right? There are many actually, you can show more. Many they try to, the AI doesn't do the job right always because AI doesn't know your context. As I said, contextual, right? You must tell whether this is helpful or not. If not helpful, feedback. Say that this is not helpful, right? The sound cannot come out. I don't know why. There are some bug in the software. Yes and no. Let's say this is not helpful, right? This doesn't help me to do my report. Manufacturer ID is unique ID, doesn't mean anything, right? But it try to plot. So I say no, right? You feedback. So you thank you. So let's say this is not what you want, right? So you can always see some question here. there are some suggested question also. Percentage distribution of category, how many different products are there, right? Sometimes even products, you don't know how many products are there, right? So many products, right? You want to know exact the number, right? You can just use a question. How many different products are there? 2,172. This is quite a big table, don't look at it like that. It's a lot of different products, or counted by product ID, or the value of the product. 2,172 distinct count of product, right? Counted within a split of a second, already. So if, right, you have your question, okay, let us do some question, ask some natural language question, like human-like question. Okay, what, we can try, what are the top three, right? Top three manufacturer by product number, how much product they sell, manufacturer, right? What are the top three manufacturers, or maybe give a plural, right? Within split of a second, they give you quick bus, right? Just now the chart, you saw that, remember? The chart just now gave you quick bus, right? The MOS, but now you just want to ask top three, right? It gives you the top three. Top three are Quibbas, Natura, Van Astel, right? 400 something, right? 300, count for you, right? Bottom three are the worst three perform manufacturers. Baba, Palma, Salvus, right? You can ask your own question, you try, right? The AI may not be able to understand your language, right? If your grammar is wrong, something that I don't know, you can try, right? So, but if I ask it properly, in a question, what are the bottom three manufacturers, you actually answer me. Let's say this is the result I want. I can insert it as a pivot table first, right? The visual, right, is not plot, right? You can insert the pivot table and you plot on your own, whether you want to use a bar chart or so on to plot, let's say the bottom three manufacturer. Or you can also tell it to plot, right, and show me in a column chart, right? I don't know whether the eye can understand or not. Let's try lah. What are the bottom three manufacturers, right? And show me in a column chart, right? Whoa, it does it for you, right? So in a column chart format, then you like it, you want it in your report, then your boss actually want to know which manufacturer are not performing, right? Then maybe you want to stop them from reselling your products. Okay, let's insert this into another worksheet, right, as your chart. So you can copy and paste this in your nice report, dashboard, and so on later, right? But these are the three, right? Within seconds, right, you have come up with this insight, the bottom three, the top three, and so on, for top five, bottom five, and so on. You can ask as many questions as you want, right? Okay, so but, right, of course, first of all, you must allow your AI, the friend, assistant, to understand the structure of it. So make it into an Excel table, right? And then only you let it do the job and try to spell it. Uh, if you put small letter, I think it can understand also. You can understand, so it's quite intelligent, but if you want to make it easier the job for the AI, you can try to spell it according to the column name and so on that you already have in a table for it to understand the structure, right? The column, right? So this is something that is quite very useful to most people, right? Most of us know how to answer, ask questions. We have business question to answer based on the data, right? Decision making, we want to know top three, top bottom three, and so on. But we don't know how to write code. We don't know how to use certain proprietary tool, because some tools you need to do to have the training for you to know how to use it. But here, purely based on conversation. Currently, it's English, but later you can see in another tool, Power BI, you can even teach AI to understand Malay, to understand other term language in Malay. Then you ask question in that term, then it can also understand, right? So, okay, so let us try to see any other suggested question. You can click on the chat box on top there, analyze data. You look at the suggested question, right? Okay, for example, which is the most common manufacturer? What does it mean by most common? We know count, right? How many products sold by net measure the most? then it's the most common manufacturer. So, but even in this kind of AI, right, this kind of language, most common, the AI also understand most common means quantity, the count is the highest. Again, Quibbas, right? Give you the summarized value, 455, as we know just now. The maximum is Quibbas. Most common is actually Quibbas, right? What is the most common category? Let's say we want to know category, right? We have 4 category. What is the most common category among all, right? Rural or mix or whatever, right? Is urban actually. 1,000 plus record transaction actually involves this category of product. Okay, so let's quickly switch to another table, sentiment. This is also interesting. Okay, if you want to refresh the analysis, close it, right? Just open it again, you analyze again this table now, right? This is sentiment. And if you check the filter, you know that this sentiment table only involves one manufacturer, Maximus, right? So the user actually comment feedback on the score, the rating of these products by Maximus, right? So now let's say there are some suggested chart already within split of a second, and something very useful. For example, you want to know which date, there is a date, right? On which date actually this company Maximus get the lowest score, people's average score by all the user lowest, right? Actually it highlight. Okay, let us insert this pivot chart into another worksheet, right? Actually it tells you not only plotting, but give you the insight. The minimum score happens on 6th of January 2014. It highlights it, even plot for you, right? So in the format that you may be enough for you to do your report, right? The pivot table is done, right? Let's go back, right? So there are bar chart and so on. I think this is quite common, right? The frequency of score. Okay, this is not useful. So let us do something that is more useful, right? You want to know, right? Bottom 3. Okay, this is a Maximus manufacturer by state, right? You want to know score, right? The score. Which state give you the highest score? For example, top 3 state, capital letter. Let us make it easier for the AI. Top 3 state for uh, top 3 state. Just put top 3 states, see what happens. Oh, good. You actually average the score. So many score, right? It's a hassle for you to average up, to group the data. You need to do grouping by state and so on and so forth before you can calculate the average for each of the state. But now you want to know the top 3 only. The rest you don't care, right? The top 3 state that has the highest rating is actually number 1 is MS. A state in US, MS. NC, 55 something. Okay, let me maximize it a bit, right? And 54.75 is the average score for VP, right? But you know that this state has 2 years, actually across 2 years, 2014, 2013. Let's say I don't want to know about 2013, I just want to know the score for 2014, right? Let me make it narrower in 2014, right? Or I want to tell it in year 2014, right? Okay, yes, higher 2014. You see the average is different, right? NC now, not just now I remember it's MS number 1 overall for 2 years. So 2014, right? Top 3 score NC is 58.375, right? The user in that state give the highest scoring on average throughout the year, 58.375 highest. MS 57.5, OR 56. Okay, you want top 5, you just change to top 5. Doesn't matter, the top 5. Bottom also can change it to bottom, right? You calculate for you. And then if this is what you want, right, you can insert. Even though you want to plot in a chart, doesn't matter. You can just insert the pivot table, convert it, for example, convert it to a pivot chart. You just plot a pivot chart out of this. You can actually sort, right? You can sort the values from highest, largest to smallest, right, in terms of score. And then you can plot, insert a pivot chart out of it, right, in a bar chart or so on and so forth. Let's say I want to do it in a bar chart. right? So okay lah, you can plot, right? The rest is formatting is it's up to you, right? You can format according to what you want and put it in your report, right? So this is how you can do with sentiment. Example. Okay, let's want to plot sentiment up and down. So you want to know the average. Let's try lah. Just try to explore. Average. Sorry, here. You want to ask, Okay, tell me. Just tell me lah. Be more polite. Please tell me. Please tell me. Be more polite to the AI. Okay. Uh, the average score, right? By date, you want across time, in 2014, right? Uh, in line chart. I want to have a line chart. Oh, okay, cannot understand. Cannot understand. Okay, let me check. Let me change. Average score by date. Against date. Right? Against date. Against date. Let's see. Cannot understand. Okay, so in line chart, let me remove it. I think the question, let me check what is the question that helps it to understand. Against date. Okay, let me use this. Average score. Oh, okay, I understand why already. Because for certain date, you have multiple value, right? So we have to say, let me see. Average score. Okay, tell me the average score of state, certain state, right? Because you look at this table, right? For different state, they have record for the same date, so it couldn't calculate. So tell me the average score for certain state, right? Subset the state. For example, IA against state. Then it can actually filter and give you a chart, right? Because there are multiple overlapping data for different state, they all have the value for the same date. So if you just ask it to plot for every state, every in general, it cannot plot a line chart, right? It can only summarize everything, give you a score, right? For now, so we tell him subset it to a certain state, against state, right? Let's say you want, okay, let's say you see this is by date, may not be so useful because date, right? You want to know by month. You want to group the data set by month, right? But your data set doesn't have month. You see that? It only have a few, sorry, sentiment here, date, right? Let us ask a question. Does the AI understand which of these subset value is a month, which one is a day, which one is a year? All right, let's try. All right, so IA by month. By month, I want to see January, February, right? By month, in 2014, whether you understand year or not, 2014 is a year, right? You can't see much. Okay, let us insert it first. You can see, right? So you see the chart, plotted actually by month now, right? But it doesn't subset the 2014. The AI doesn't understand 2014 is a year. So we can refine our language, our question further. But here, you understand by month. Right? Previously, we did it by date. We didn't tell by month. We said against date. So here we say by month. So I actually group the data by month. January, February, March, April. But line chart may not be suitable for monthly data, right? Okay, so let's go back to the question again. Right? Let us go back to the question sentiment table. Right? Let us change it to, right? No, I don't want line chart, I want bar chart or column chart. In column, put in column chart. You can specialize, you can specify the so-called the visual you want in column chart. Right? In column chart, see whether it works or not. Right? Column chart produced for you. Right? So don't be confused by this day. It's actually by month already. So you insert the pivot chart. You can see that it actually plot the bar, column chart by month. The average score, right? The highest score actually happened in September and November. November actually 2014. average score for this state, IA, right? So you can actually put in the label, add data label to know 73.5 average score. Just now, overall average score is around 50 something, 60 something, but certain month actually has very high score, right? For certain state. Of course, if you want to know other state, you have to go back to the drawing board again and go from there. You filter by the date, by the state, change the state, and then you see there. Okay, let's try one more time, the last time, right? Because of time constraint, Or let's try another state. Here, I don't know, I'm not familiar with geography in US. AL, what state is that? AL, right? Different chart produced, right? Different chart. Let's try another state. NC, yeah, just now we saw NC, right? Another chart. So you can do analysis on the fly with the help of your assistant, which is an AI, right? You ask question and he tells you, but you also have to help him by telling him whether it is useful or not, yes or no, right? Because in this context, this is called contextual context. Give him the context. When he understand more and more, he understand the keyword that you use, for example, or this score, average score, and so on. So if it is useful, then you just tell him it is useful, right? So if this is this useful? Yes, feedback to it, right? The robot to train it. Okay, so let's go to the last table of this session, sales spec. Okay, let us try to analyze this table. Try. Click on it. Wow, it's a lot. This table will you scroll a bit slow because 1 million. Remember just now sales fact, 1 million plus data. So if your memory is not big enough, right? So you might have some strain on your computer. Okay, so analyze data for this sales fact. Doesn't work. Too much of a good thing. This is planned purposely for you to see the limitation of analyzed data, right? You may have too much data selected to come out with something useful. Why too much? 1 million plus, right? So this is a limitation of Excel, right? If you want to do something like that to analyze millions data point, you need additional tool, right? Even in Excel can Power Pivot. You need to build data model using Power Pivot. So there is another tool and another training altogether. You may liaise with us if you want to learn more about Power Pivot, right? Power Pivot for building a data model that involves data set that is of more than millions, right? So in this case cannot, but if you just choose a subset of this table, right? A subset, right? Let's say I know it cannot analyze so much of millions of data points. So sorry, it's a bit slow already. Let me select a subset of it. Let's say I just select a very small subset. Just try small subset. Okay, I select a small subset. It's a bit slow already. You just select, you can try, you select a small subset of this table and then you try to click analyze data. It can actually analyze, right? The reason for this is just because the data set is too large, more than the limit that it can do. So let's go back to the slide. Right, as I have mentioned, right? So this data set, right? 6 tables, we have explored, right? We have done that, what I've done. So I want to summarize it. Actually, this analyze data, they focus in the inside the analysis on 4 aspects. So you can see just now in the suggested chart, right? They always give you something like a rank, a bar chart, column chart, give you a rank of certain values based on highest to lowest, lowest to highest. So a rank. Outlier. Remember just now the line chart, they highlight a date where the score is the lowest. So it give you the outlier if you have outlier in your data set. And then trend. This is very common. Line chart, you plot just across time, across date, across month, trend. And last but not the least, we also see in the beginning, pie chart. Pie chart tells you which one is the largest in terms of percentage, majority, a composition of different category of different types of values you want to compare, and then you get the majority or the minority also can the other way around, right? So these 4 way of insight in a split of a second without you have to even build a very complicated data model and so on and so forth, right? So this is the one, right? Limitation, still limitation, 1 point something million data sale doesn't work. right? You can see just now in the sales fact table, right? So you can have subset of that. It also works for a single table at a time only, at the moment. Just now in the Excel sheet, on one sheet, I have one table. So analyze that table alone because we didn't build data model relation to other table, right? Which we can do using Power Pivot. But in this case, we didn't build that. That's why the analyze data feature only for uh, people who want to analyze one table at a time, right? Without building that relation between different table. This is a limitation. Work best with data that is formatted as an Excel table. If you just leave it as a uh, sale references, it can still work, but it's not to the optimize. So the service doesn't always find something. So bear in mind, just keep trying because natural language, different people phrase it differently, right? It's just like how you communicate with ChatGPT. In this case, your ChatGPT is actually the analyze data AI. So you just keep trying to refresh your terms and so on, make it understand, help the assistant to learn from you as well, the context of what you want to know until you get something, right? So this is Excel, right? Analyze data. Let's move on to Power BI, right? So now let us open now our Power BI software. The sample file is already in the Google Drive. You can download this PIBX, Power BI software, the data file, and the chart. Right, so inside this Power BI file already with chart, but this is not our concern. Today, I'm not going to give a Power BI tutorial. I assume most of you who come today, you should have some basic understanding about Power BI already. Right, these are just the sample chart that we have already done. So this is not our concern. I think I need to refresh this. I opened up earlier. That doesn't matter. We want to open another additional page. We are not going to concern about the existing chart or whatever that is already plotted there. We want to create something new on the new page. Just click at the bottom there, add the plus sign, add a new page, right? We want to add something there. Are you ready? Right, just add something. Right, so I want to bring your attention. This AI feature is already embedded as an augmented analytics tool also in Power BI. Right, Power BI. It is called Q&A. We know so between the robot, the AI, and human, Q&A, conversation between the two. But currently it is limited to English. But we can actually customize it to understand certain term in Bahasa, in other language as well. Later you can see. Right, so there are two options to access this feature, Power BI Q&A. Option one, you have to access to on the cloud Power BI service. You have to log in, but it is only available to pro or premium user. I reckon that most of us here today, you haven't subscribed to Power BI, so you are not a pro or premium user, so you can access it through Power BI service, but you can still access it on desktop, Power BI desktop. The one that prerequisite we ask you to install before the workshop, right? I assume you have already installed. So open it up and open a new page using Power BI desktop. You can use the same file, the sample file that I give you. Because the model has already been built into it, so you speed up what we want to do later. Right, so this Q&A, right? Okay, I skip this one. Right, in Power BI desktop, open out this Power BI desktop. Let's go to the model view. Right, we have already before this workshop, this model has already been built. The same 6 tables that we explored just now: product, sales fact. Right, if you check geo is a fact table, so only the sales fact, the product has factual data, sentiment, right, another factual data, manufacturer is another fact, this dimension table, right, date is another dimension table. Right, this date actually the one that helps to the software to understand the month and so on. Okay, so these are the 6 tables. Relationship view. This is even more powerful than Excel analyze data just now because you have a data model behind. Okay, let's go back to the report view. Just now I asked you to switch to model view, right? So go back to report view. Right, there is something called Q&A. So you can access Q&A from 2 parts. One is on the visualization panel, the icon. You see a call out, right? Q&A. This is actually mouse over Q&A. Just now I mentioned. Or you can access it from insert Q&A. On the insert tab Q&A. Right? Q&A is a kind of visual, but it doesn't determine the visual on the spot yet. Wait. Okay, let me open it again. So I think I opened it for some time already. Let me open again. Right? So this Q&A actually will work like, again, natural language where, so the human asks a question and the AI will actually try to plot to make sense of the question, try to suggest a kinds of visual, right, for the user. It also suggests certain pre-suggested question based on the data model that is already built in into the file, right? So the kinds of question that we can ask, again, some rule of thumb, we can ask natural question like which, what, right? Which are the top three and so on, the highest revenue. And then you can say, show me, show me. And then again, top 10, right? Top 5, bottom 10, bottom 5. Show me sales in the US. You can subset by certain location, certain category, certain type. And then show me the sales where product category is what. You can have relation and or and category 1 and category 2. Category 1 or category 2 and so on. Right? You can show me sales by product as a pie chart. You can also specify the kinds of visual you want. Show me the median, right? Even descriptive statistics, median sales, mean sales, right? And so on and so forth. Show me top 10 country and so on. Show me date, right? By, you want to know certain date, right? By date, right? Total sales versus total cost. Show me sales over time is a line chart. Most likely sales value over time. So this kind of question you can ask. So let's try. Okay, let's open a new page. Okay, insert Q&A. Right, so I leave it almost for the whole morning. So just now was hand already. So just close and open again. All right, so this Q&A pretty much even more intelligent than what you tried just now, analyze data in Excel, right? So it'll suggest some question for you, right? Let's say I just don't know what to do with such a data model in front of me, a lot of data, someone pass you this data, clean up ready, and then you have all the raw data there, data looks like that, right? Raw data, you just don't know what to do, right? You want to plot something, so unless you are trained, you know what kinds of chart for what kinds of relationship between data. But if you don't know, you just leave it to the robot to suggest to you. For example, top geo states, because there's a geo table, right, by total uniques. Just try the suggested question. You can try any of the question, right? Let's say I try top states by total uniques. I just enter. Oh, good. Actually plot a map for me, right? In split of a second, right? The sales, right? By the size of the circle actually indicate the size of the sales, the amount of the sales, right? Top geo state by state. So because it's state, so it plot a map. It suggests a map, right? If it is useful, if this is what you want, you really want this kind of chart, you can actually convert it into a standard visual, right? You can convert it into a standard visual right away. Like just now, you insert pivot chart, right? Just now in Excel. So now you can turn it into a chart, actual chart that you want. So it is part of your report ready for this page. Of course, you can customize and so on and so forth. But let's say I undo. Let me undo. Control Z. Right? Undo. This is not what I want. Let's say Okay. Yeah, can. Okay, undo. So go back. Okay, so now I want to ask another question. Let's say something else. You can always see all the possible suggestions. But this is just a subset of all the possible suggestions. So let us ask question. Just now, the question that we've asked earlier, can we try it now? So top 3, Right, that's how I say we can actually ask any of this type of question, top 3 and so on, top 10 products by sales. Let's just try top 10 products by sales. Right, top 10, tell me top 10 products by, okay, it actually have auto completion, right, by count of product and so on and so forth. You can see by count of product, by category, by its complete, by its vendor. Let's say by category. Okay, so let's just click on it. Right, okay, the chart doesn't mean much, right, because we just want the count of it. We may convert to other data, other chart, right? So let's say you want to, okay, later I'll come to this, right? So let's say a category is not really good, so you actually highlight to you this may not be appropriate. Let's say we try to change to top 10 product by count, right? By count. So the number of count, meaning the value of the number of products sold, right? So the chart may not reflect much because the product, a lot of, if you count, a lot of product only sold for 3. So you have a lot of tie. This data set have a lot of tie. A lot of products sold for 3 quantity, 3 and 1 and so on and so forth only. So it's very hard for it to count the top, right? So what we can do is products, instead of products, right? Top 10, top 5, let's say top 5 category, top 3 category. So we just want to know category because a lot of products sold for 3, the maximum is 3. Okay, so category. Right, top 3 category. Similar to what we did just now, right? You give you urban, rural. Okay, so top 3 segment. Product segment, right? Productivity is number 1. Convenience, extreme. Okay, let's say you want to do it in certain state. In state IA, right? So this is the value for state IA, a subset of it, right? So this is how you can actually play with the language, right? So later on, if you want to convert, let's say this is a chart you want, you can actually confirm it. And when you confirm, you can change the visual to other visual. And let's say I choose this as a visual I want, right? But I don't want it to be in this bar chart. I want it as a column chart. You can change it as a column chart, right? You can convert it. So the feature of the Q&A, right, is pretty much similar, right, to how you actually deal with analyze data just now. So you can insert another one. Let's try another one. Okay. But now I want to bring your attention to the advanced feature here is you can also customize the question. You can train the AI. You can even make it even more intelligent. First of all is few synonym. You click on the setting here. Right? Let's say other than you suggest some question, you can also specifically put in some synonym. Right? Let's say few synonym. Let's try this. Getting started, few synonym. So in each of these table, we have some terminology that we involve in our Q&A, the term. Right? So for example, in product table again, right? We call it product. So the AI understand product as product, tied to that product column, product table, product column, right? But sometimes certain of us, when we tell something, we don't call it product, we call it merchandise, right? You can add this term to be equivalent, synonym, equivalent to product. If someone asks it as a merchandise, how many merchandise? Give me the top 3 merchandise sold. It actually equivalent to the product column. It knows that, right? So if you want to add your own term, for example, we are in Malaysia, so product is product. You can add Malay, Bahasa, or whatever language you want the term, right? Category, right? You can call it classification. You can add, right? You can even exclude certain table. Let's say you don't want to analyze geo, right? You can exclude it from the term. So you wouldn't go and care about the term in geo or manufacturer in other table. You can include, you can exclude, right? So you can include certain term, you can exclude certain term, right? So let's try this, merchandise or product, right? I already added, right? So I can actually save it. I think save already. Merchandise, product. So let me close this one. Let me come back to this now. Okay, now I ask it based on the term that I actually add in, right? Uh, produce, produce. I use produce. Right? It doesn't know what is produce. I like. Okay, produce the top three, right? Product, right? Product. I put product already. Product, right? You actually know product is product, right? Give me three. Again, I said that many products have only maximum three, three count. So it becomes three. Okay, let me use merchandise. Right, you also understand it's actually about product. Top three merchandise, top three product. Right, just now in the category, I saw say classification. Right, top three. Just now we said category, right? This is the column name. We can use to classification of products. Right, actually give you the top three. Right, classification becomes synonym to uh, category, right? Because of the synonym you add, right? Few synonym you add, right? So this one can allow you to accommodate more organization related terms, right? Your company may have some specific term, technical term or specific jargon that is used within the company, within the team. You can add in into the synonym to make the AI understand more intelligently, understand the meaning of it, right? You tie it to certain term inside your data model, right? So another one, teach Q&A, right? Sometimes you want certain question that is uh, descriptive. For example, top three, the most productive manufacturer. You want to describe in a very human-like way, productive, but the robot, the AI doesn't know what is productive. So you tell him what productive means. You can define, right? So now let us just, okay, let me set right again. The most productive manufacturer, right? You mouse over. Let me see. Hey, how come it's not showing for me to define? Let me see. Review question. Teach Q&A. Just now the term now we add. Okay, wait. This one, the most productive manufacturer. Okay, let me see why it doesn't show me for me to add the define. I need to define this term. Okay. Okay, never mind. There is a way for you to actually teach the question. Okay, let me say the most common, right? The most common category, product category. Right, so this one, it should appear, right? It should appear here that you can actually define most common, right? Means what? You can say it's a max in terms of product ID, the count of product ID, right? So I think at the moment, as I used earlier, it was allowed to, okay, let's select submit. Select submit. Okay, let me submit. Yes, can. Sorry. Okay, so most common. Common means what? The robot doesn't know, right? So you describe, right? So high count of product, common, right? Count of product, right? More than count of category actually, category. More than, let's say, 5,000, right? So now the robot will understand, the AI will understand actually there is none, 5,000 is too much. 50, right? You can preview the result based on this filter. Oh, okay, product category, common product category. Okay, so let me see. Did I spell it wrongly? Most common product category. Okay, let us save. Okay, it's defined already. Let's say any product count the category more than 50, then you understand that is actually the most common. Huh? So this is how you actually define. Try to define certain description, certain term that is tied to the quantitative figure that in your table. For example, certain threshold, certain value that you want. Right? You can actually teach the Q&A. Right? So teach Q&A means you train the model to understand more specific, localized context of what you want to do. Right? So and suggest question. You can even suggest question and add it to the suggested question repository, right? By default, right, it has already some suggested question. Add a new Q&A, right? Let's say I remove this, right? These are the suggested question by the AI, right? You can also add your own suggested question if you want, right? If you find that that question doesn't exist in the original repository, you can add it to it, add to it. Okay, that's all for this Power BI Q&A, right? Where you can actually use the Augmented Analytics AI to help you to suggest the type of visual, the type of data, the visual that you want to plot, right? So without you have to dig through, right, the hassle of all the data model first, right? Of course, data model you must build, but without you the hassle of understanding which field and so on, you can try to do it on the fly, right? On the fly. And then of course, you have to work hand in hand together with the AI, right? So um, the best practice would be to always try until you get something satisfactory for you, right? Definitely. It may not happen in the first time, right? Whatever natural language question that you ask, you can always get what you expect, right? What you desire. From time to time, you can actually train the robot to be more intelligent. Okay, this is 11:45 already. Let me conclude the session today, right? So because of this augmented analytics tool, right? The tool of augmented, sorry, what is the noise? Sorry, someone have a noise here. Okay, the rise of the citizen data scientist with augmented analytics tool. AI-powered tools can automatically dig through a company's data, analyze it, and offer actionable insight. Right? That means what it means is small and medium-sized businesses which have no resource, right, for a big team of data experts, data scientists, will be able now to go toe to toe with much larger companies. Augmented analytics will level the playing field, right, in many industries. So this gives rise to something called citizen data scientists, where all these data scientists, so-called citizen data scientists, are actually not data scientists by training, right? And the job function is not to perform data scientists on a day-to-day basis, but they are actually people, business user, who are at different level of the business function. For example, a CEO, CTO, people who are working on the ground. For example, sales. For example, marketing personnel. You can also have access to all these tools, right? And give you the ability to gain actionable insight, right? Make data informed decision, right? So who are citizen data scientists? People who are not actually data scientists per se, right? But they are actually interested in data science. Then you can pick up data science skill by doing this, right? Using the augmented analytics tool. So generate models and analysis to leverage advanced analytics for decision making, right? At scale. At scale meaning it is propagated across different different business function across the organization. And different business users who leverage on this can also collaborate and share data and analytics and insights with each other, right? So not just limited to the team of data scientists. So the approach would be by using all these tools, it can improve accuracy, right? Because it takes away subjectivity as much as possible. And the tool actually analyze based purely by data. and use domain and primary skills and expertise, right? The domain skill, domain expertise of the business user, and then leverage on that, and then to produce quality analysis. So interact and liaise with the IT and data scientists, right? Which are the real experts, and define use cases and refine outcome. So this will improve time to market and time to decision, because the job is no more just limited to a few people, but everyone in the organization will be able to perform at their level the kinds of analysis they can do with the help of the tool. So thank you for your time for this 1.5 hour. Hopefully, it will help you to have an insight and overview towards the tool available. Not just Excel and Power BI, but there are many other software tools. This is a new feature that is going to be more and more prevalent, more and more common in the field of data analytics. Right? Thank you, and let us check the question whether there is any question or not.
Thank you, Dr. Simon, for that presentation. So now it's our Q&A session. If you guys have any questions, do leave it in the chat box below. I'll give you guys about a minute to put down your questions. And if not, maybe Dr. Simon, we can wrap up this session.
Okay, I will share the slide. I will share the slide. Tan, no worry. Any other question pertaining to just tool, or any conceptual question about citizen data scientists, about augmented analytics, right, after this workshop? All right, if you have no question, I have question that I can ask on your behalf, right? What is your initial investment in order for you to start doing this, right? Today, let's say you are interested in doing all this. Within your company, you have a lot of data already, but you never analyze it. But you want to start, okay? As much as you just need to subscribe, right? Subscribe for Excel, Office 365. Office 365, then you have the access to this AI tool. Of course, even without this, you can still perform analytics using Excel already. If you are trained to use Power Query, tool like Power Query, Power Pivot, right? Power Pivot. So this is another training altogether. If you really want to know more, right, to leverage on existing resources within your company, resource means software that you already subscribe, and also the manpower, right? Manpower may not be data scientists that you have employed, but you may have employees that are interested to explore, right, to do analysis, to produce report from many of your data. Then you may want to just subscribe to Excel 365. Then you have the access to this whole set of power, or you can also attend training to learn how to use Power Query, Power Pivot, and so on. But for Power BI, it's totally free, right? The Power BI desktop software, this one you can download from Microsoft Power BI website, right? Totally free. You can start working on it anytime. So there is no very minimal initial investment in terms of dollar and cent for you to kickstart this journey as a citizen data scientist. Any other questions from the ground? Okay, I pass the ground floor to Dania. Right,
All
thank you.
right. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
for your
Dr.
time.
Simon. So, if you guys do have any questions, do feel free to either email us or leave it in the chat box until the end of the session. So, thank you again, Dr. Simon. I would like to thank you for your time and for sharing this informative session with us today. So, we're finally at the end of our session, and I hope this session helped everyone open your eyes and help you get a deeper understanding in data analytics. If you enjoyed this session, do click on the subscribe button for more videos and to be up to date with all our upcoming events. You can also follow us on all our social media websites, such as our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, to get news of all our upcoming events. So all of our social media is actually listed in our description box below. Other than that, don't forget to leave your feedback in our feedback form that will be located in our description box below as well. Again, I hope you found this session very beneficial and I hope we managed to get your interest in data analytics. We look forward to having you guys again. Thank you very much.
Have a great day. See you again in our next session. Thank you.
Thank you.